Blog Talk Radio.
Together for forever's what you told me. I gave up them streets for us to be released that old me. I was in too deep to recognize how you control me. Forgot about myself, who am I here, don't even know me. Once I never ever was the type to sit at home all alone. Daddy darling, I've been calling you, not picking up your phone. Now what is that about? Tell me what that's all about. Cause this the type of shit that makes me wanna knock you out, boy. Give me what you promised me, said you'll always honor me. I can't trust you honestly, and that really bothers me. Communicate, that's all I ask. James ain't got no time for that. I give you the respect that you give me, and that's a fact, boy. Cause it's the wrong way. Oh, it's the right way. It's the right and the wrong way. And it's the wrong way. It's the right and the wrong way to love somebody. You gotta love me right. It's the wrong way. It's either right or wrong. It's either right. Think back like they used to be. Like every single night you would come home and straight make love to me. And even when we fight, you made it right. It brought us closer. We'd hold each other tight, apologize like it's supposed to be. Now you keep me waiting and frustrated. Every day we separated. Barely speaking, I can't take you. Had my heart and now it's dead. If we miss us, won't you say it? Let's fix us, it's not too late. And if you need a little time, that I'm okay with. Remember the first time we met? I know you remember that. Yeah, we was the perfect match. I just want that old thing back. Communicate, that's all I ask. James ain't got no time for that. I give you the respect that you give me, and that's a fact, boy. Cause this is I'm worthy of you giving me your best. You gotta love me right. Cause I'm worthy. Right or wrong, wrong or right. You gotta make the choice tonight, baby. If you wanted my love, baby, all you got to do is come over. If you wanted my love, baby, all you got to do is get up on it, baby. Communicate is all I ask. It's the right and the wrong way. Guess I got no time for that. It's the right and the wrong way to love somebody. Oh, 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 oh. It's the right and the wrong way. Can we make this last forever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's one ride. I'ma let her ride. She could be my wife. She could be my wife. Double back and make it flip on him. Yeah, you know I love them hips on you. Yeah, you the one, no, I won't skip on you. Yeah, you the one, that's why I kiss on you. Hey, I know you the one, cause if I don't, then I'll be dumb. And your shit be wet and sticky, I ain't talking about no gum. She asked why I be rapping, tell the truth, girl, it's fun. I'm the type to get some money, spend that shit just like it's none. But tell me if you wanna ride. We can ride through the night, unless you tryna go inside, You know you a smack, I take a bite, She's gon' ride. I'ma let her ride. She could be my wife. She could be my wife. Double back and make it flip on them. Yeah, you know I love them hips on you. Yeah, you the one, no, I won't skip on you. Yeah, you the one, that's why I kiss on you. Hey, everything I say is so mental, not accidental. Think it's all inside my jeans like it's denim, I'm about to kill him. He gon' keep on doing drugs if he feel like it's gon' hit him. He gon' stay with all the thugs if he feel like they gon' get him. We was out that late night popping up, that's a walker. I remember late nights, whole block, they was all up. Every time they got some trouble, all them niggas, they gon' call us. They don't fuck with broke niggas, only fuck around with the ballers. I'ma let her ride. She could be my wife. She could be my wife. Double back and make it flip. You know I let them hips on you. Yeah, you the one, no, I won't skip on you. Yeah, you the one, that's why I kiss on you. Yeah, you the one, that's why I kiss on you. She just wanna ride. She just wanna ride. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the one and only Missy Jones on the Move Unscripted on Purpose, where conversations can go as planned or off script. So if you're tuned in and ready to get your talk on with your girls, feel free to call in and voice your opinion at 516-387-1247, or sit back and enjoy the conversation. And remember, we are here every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're ready to get your talk on and your groove on with your girls, join in the conversation or sit back and listen while we're talking on the Move Unscripted on Purpose.
What's going on? You have tuned in to another episode of On the Move Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion. That's right, we are back. I've been a little bit under the weather, so if my voice sounds a little jacked up, that's why, because I've been under the weather. But let me pull my girl in. I got at least one of them on the line, so I won't have to be talking by myself. What's going on, Misty?
Hi, Patricia. How you doing?
Oh, fine. My mom just said hi. Say hi, Mom.
Hey, hi, Mom. How are you? Fine, and you? How you been?
All right, hanging in.
I'm glad you're here. Maybe I can get out and come see you this time.
Yeah, I don't go back, and I leave out December the 6th going back.
Oh, okay. That's plenty of time.
She came to kick it with us for the holidays. She's cooking Thanksgiving dinner. We're about to put her to work.
Oh, they got you cooking my heck no. So it's time for this to cook the whole entire meal for you to sit back.
Not just for me, like all of us. Look, we're all bringing everything that we want her to cook, and she's about to throw down. She's about to do the mama thing.
Y'all bring that. Why do y'all do that to us? My kids talking the same thing.
Didn't you say you want to, Mom? Didn't you say you wanted to?
Yes, I said y'all get what you want.
Yeah. She said, get what we want and we cook it. You know, you only got to tell me that once.
My kids like, so we gonna buy the food, and I'm like, no, we ain't doing that. Not this year. Y'all gonna help cook. Okay, y'all want to help cook? Okay, watch. I'm going to sit back because I'm tired of cooking and cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to put all the leftovers. No, and it's only me here. I don't need all them leftovers in my refrigerator.
So how your week been?
My week has been so relaxing. I've been a little tired, though, here lately. You been tired since the time went up?
Yes,
like
really have been tired.
I'm like, goodness.
And there's an eclipse coming. So I've noticed with the phases of the moon, like I feel like whenever there's an eclipse coming, which is going to be tomorrow, like myself and a lot of other people start to say that they're feeling tired and stuff. So I really do feel like the phases of the moon affect us humans on Earth. I've always felt that way.
Yeah, no doubt. That's probably exactly why I've been like so extremely tired. Like, I mean, I can get up between 4 and 7 in the morning, and by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be like, I need a nap. For real. It's like, been up since 4 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and like, I need a nap at noon. Like, oh my goodness. Like, am I getting old? Is it just me? Or then I talked to a couple other people, and they like, no, I'm like extremely tired too. I'm like, in the world.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
but my week, how's your week?
I'm sorry. My week has been great. I've been sick. I ain't been feeling that great, but I feel better now. Like each day I'm feeling a little bit better. So I've just been working. I started a new job, so I've been working and doing the whole thing. Running my different groups on the Atlanta Music Industry Group and all kinds of stuff. I've just been chilling. I've just been chilling. I know that Deshaun is on, DJ's on the line, too. What's going on, DJ?
Yes. Hey, ladies. How are you? I wanted to get on and say hello to everybody. Hey, I may be traveling here soon. But I wanted to come and say, hey, and just say I want everybody to have a great holiday, Thanksgiving, being thankful, and just to share a little bit about my week. I've been tired. My thyroid is back up high, so it's making me tired. But yes, I find myself just being really tired. But I'm hopefully soon that will adjust and balance out. But just working at the table. I had my granddaughter. I hadn't seen her in about 2 weeks, so I was able to take her to school. But everything has just been moving along, and I have no complaints.
That's what's up.
Looking forward to the holiday season.
That's what's up. Yeah. So you're the third person, me, Misty, and you all saying we tired. Yeah. So, and I'm sure there's other people
tired.
who probably. Yeah, I feel like there's other people who probably feel the same way, like really tired. So, well, I hopefully you can stay on for some of the discussion, because today I wanted to talk about gun violence. And the reason that I wanted to talk about it is because I don't know. I know, Deshaun, DJ, I don't think you follow the hip-hop world too much. I don't know. Or Misty, I don't know if you do. But an artist by the name of Young Dolph was killed yesterday in his hometown, in Memphis. And, like, it's
what's his name, Patricia?
Sad.
Because I just saw something on IG. What's his name?
Young Dolph.
Okay, I think I saw that posting.
So,
I think I saw that.
You remember that song, California? Oh, California, with T.I. and all those people?
Yeah.
He was one of the artists on there. He's done a lot of stuff. Like, he's a big artist, you know what I'm saying? And he was killed yesterday right in his own neighborhood, like where he grew up at. Like, he was going to a store to buy cookies and ice cream and stuff. I think they said he was buying cookies for his mom or ice cream for himself. And when he went into got what he was doing, going to get what he was getting, and as he was getting ready to come out, a white car came and some guys jumped out and they shot and killed him. And I'm just like, what? We've lost so many freaking artists. Rap artists particularly over the last year or two, like, and I think Mr. Shaw was saying that we hadn't experienced this kind of violence with so many artists since the Tupac and Biggie days. I see R. Marie just jumped on. R. Marie, how's your day? How you doing?
I'm here
Hey, Marie.
I'm doing okay. I was just ready to, because wasn't your son supposed to be doing something with the rapper that got killed recently? Wasn't One Way Zay? Was that who? Well, I think it ended up being a fictitious thing, but when they wanted him to come and help.
Yeah, that was a scam. That was a scam. And that wasn't him. No, that was Lil Durk. It was a Lil Durk scam that was going on. And they actually got me. I'm not going to lie, because it seemed so real. Like, when One Way Zay, it was like right after we came off of the Columbus concert. And it was like a really, really nice that we did here in Columbus. And so, like, the next day or maybe 2 days later, he got an Instagram message from someone that was just like, yeah, we saw your performance and we really want you to come and perform, and all this beautiful stuff. And it seemed legit. It really seemed legit. And they was just like, well, we'll pay for this, that, and the other, but you got to put a deposit down, And I was new to this whole scam thing. So when my son brought it to me, I'm like, well, yeah, you never know. I said, we could try it, and if it don't work, we know it ain't real. But it ended up not being real, And then it ended up being that there was a lot of scams going around. So, no, that wasn't him. That was Lil Durk. Young Dolph is the one who was on that song with that Mr. Hanky did.
He was with Lil Boosie a lot. Young Dolph was with Lil Boosie a lot. He came to Columbus. Well, Lil Boosie came to Columbus.
Who did he come with? Who did he come to Columbus with?
It was Lil Boosie, Young Dolph, and it was like 2 or 3 other rappers. Because there was a young man who unfortunately also got killed, named Lil Brew. I forgot what his street name was, but they were coming. They was looking at him. He asked Lil Boosie and Young Dolph if they could do a video with him. He had went down to Atlanta a couple times, did a couple of videos, and they came up to do this video. So they did a video on Miller and Livingston. They had shut Miller down to do the video. Yeah. And that was the last. That was the first and last time I've seen him. I just know that it is a problem. It is a problem that somebody could work so hard to try to catch their dreams, and somebody else who didn't have the desire to go out and do something better for themselves, to have so much envy and so much hatred, and that they would rather see them dead because they're being successful. And it's really sad.
Let me ask a question. Do they know who? Because I want to see, I'm trying to get a pattern. I'm trying to see a pattern here, because you mentioned that this is happening. So did they find out who did it? Is there do they know why?
Not yet. So I've been kind of following the story a little bit on YouTube, and the way that they found pictures of the guy. It looked like it was 2 of them, at least from what I could see. And but they don't know. The people were completely dressed down. They were completely in disguise. And a lot of people are, some of these YouTube reporters and stuff, they're saying that they think that it was, planned, because the guys, really came dressed to do the job. I just feel like, what the heck is really going on in the hip hop industry where they trying to pop each other? That's why I really sometimes, even though I love my son's music and I follow him and all that kind of stuff, I hate when he talks in that world, because that world, they are just, I don't know what's going on with the whole violence and really killing people and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. And then they're pointing fingers. They're saying people in the industry was beefing with Lil Dolph right before. I think they mentioned Soulja Boy or whatever they was beefing. I don't really understand all this stuff. I don't, and I understand why they're killing each other. I don't understand. I don't understand why they're bringing the gang life and all that kind of stuff into music, into the music industry, into, music
that's
is a
what they
universal
talk
tool.
about.
It's supposed to be to
That's
the people.
but that's what they talk about, Patricia. That's what they talk about. That's what they talk about. I mean, that's what I see. They talk about, I mean, I don't know this particular rapper. There, you know what? When I go through my, like, say if I wake up at like 3 a.m. or something, and I look and I go through the video channels, they got videos that are like uncut, and and I just wanted to see what the message was. I couldn't even watch it. And I'm thinking that's what they're singing about. Now, I don't know this particular rapper, but I was like, look at it. And it was demonic, and it was gun killing, like no boundaries. And I was like, wow. And it was these all black rappers.
A lot of them is part of their world. It's part of their world. I mean, because a lot of these rappers started off, with nothing, and a lot of them, didn't get a job or wouldn't, for whatever reason, couldn't hang on to a job. And a lot of them turned to the streets. Tupac said it, best, he tried to do the right thing, tried to get a job, he had a little job, but, his home life was really messed up, and that $5.50 an hour, his mom was on drugs, him and his sister still had to eat. They still had to have lights on. So when a couple of the older guys saw him struggling and like, hey, man, you can hit the streets, I'll get you started, woo-de-woo. And that's what he did, and he said he really don't care how the other world view what he did, but he did what he had to do to survive. And, it felt good putting money in his mailbox, buying his mom diamond rings and little stuff like that. And he'd rather have that than not having money. But he was blessed that he also had a gift of poetry and rap, but he rapped about a lot of things that were going on in the neighborhood. But if you look at it, a lot of these rappers, especially these hardcore rappers, they're gangster rappers, and it's about death. But if you look at shows like Ghost, which, I'm not down, I'm not going to put it down, or The Shy, or shows and stuff like that that's out right now today, it is massive killings in there. Massive.
It is.
So, you covet what you see. Especially if you say, I might get killed, but I can make plenty bread. I can move up out this neighborhood, but, it's a chance I got to take. And then being a young black man, you taking a chance dying just walking out your house anyway. Not just your enemies. You got the police after you. You got the man wanting to throw you away for years amongst years. I mean, you can kill somebody and get out in 10 years. You can sell drugs in 30 years for that shit. Makes no sense. The system is broke down. It is corrupted. There's a lot of corruption, and a lot of these young men. And then when I go around in the city and I'm seeing jobs and I'm seeing, decent paying, now everybody's hiring and it's getting pretty desperate. But before, if I see we have so much construction going on. Columbus is growing so rapidly. But it breaks my heart that every time, no matter what side of town I go past and see these construction workers, you don't see one black person. If you do, you only see that one. You know what I mean? People of color, not just black people, people of color. You don't see them in those jobs. So now a lot of people, especially this generation coming up, they're more young entrepreneurs. They want to work for themselves. They don't want to work 30 years and get a watch after 30 years in a pension. They see fast money, and they see how
and
you
no
can make
insurance.
Exactly. But a lot of them, when you at rock bottom and all you got to go for is your dreams and, like everything else you want to go through, you're going to go through roller coaster rides, but if you make it on the other end, that's great. That's kind of like the same thing that happened to Nipsey. Was it Nipsey Hussle? He was like
I think the government. I think his was on a bigger level because he was an activist. He was doing work for us. So I think the government had something to do with that piece. because the government uses us to go against us, and we go along with it.
In his set, on his Instagram on his Instagram before he died, Nipsey Hussle said, "I have strong enemies." Strong enemies.
Oh yeah.
So
the government.
It was more than just.
And then, so Patricia, to answer your question, the hip hop is corrupt. I mean, all they say. I mean, it's so much. It's wicked.
Not all of hip hop is corrupt. Not all of hip hop, but that particular section, that drill. What they call it? They call it. Is it drill music or what do they call that particular rap?
If you look at what they're all singing about, and I like the beats. I like Khaled. I like Jay-Z, but ain't none of them glorify. Ain't none of them singing about. They're all singing about money and women and smoking, and I mean that's what the hip hop industry is. Unless you're gospel.
On the line. So let me bring the caller in. We got a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. You're calling to On the Move Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion.
Yes, this is Renata down in Georgia, but I just tagged in, so I need to get caught up and see what you guys are talking about before I can make a comment. So I'm gonna go back on mute. But hi, ladies.
So we're talking about gun violence, and right now we're specifically talking about the death of a really known rapper named Young Dolph, which he had attempts on his life before. He had attempts on his life before. He had been shot at before. Like I think he even had a bulletproof car at some point or whatever. Like they had been trying to kill him for a while, and I feel like some of it has to do with the fact that he was independent, and maybe they were, jealous of that fact, or maybe there was something why they've been trying to kill this man for a while now. Like this wasn't the first incident. Like I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, or whatever, but they've been trying to kill him, and I'm like, why are they trying to? What is up? Like, it trips me out. And then not only that, but why, with all this violence that's going on, street violence, like you hear them talking about in Chicago, and Atlanta's starting to get a lot of it. Columbus, we know we got it. It's Memphis, everywhere. Why are they changing these laws and allowing people to carry guns? Like in Georgia, aren't they allowed to carry weapons like openly?
Yeah, open.
You are right to bear arms to protect yourself.
Now, I'm not against owning and carrying guns. I never have been. So, but as you were talking about Dolph, Young Dolph, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys ever heard Lil Boosie, if you're familiar with him. This is one comment that he has repeatedly stated is, you don't stay there. You have to go. Because those that you grew up with loving you, they become your haters. And it's a very unfortunate thing, but we see it repeatedly, especially amongst our young black rappers. We see it repeatedly. And then we have that contention that was going on, especially Lil Duck out of Chicago, because we're originally from Chicago, so there's a lot of that back and forth killing and the retaliation. I believe they're shutting down Memphis. They have put it down on curfew. Is that right?
Wow.
I've heard that too. And
they need to, because the retaliation is going to happen.
Area. Somebody got shot in that same area. The fans were out there leaving their flowers or, the different things in the area where Young Dolph got killed. And somebody came through and started shooting, and the guy got shot. Like, so, I think they are putting Memphis down on curfew. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is some retaliation type things, because that's that world and that cycle. But I'm just like, it almost makes you scared for your children. When your sons say they want to be a rapper, it's starting to make you scared. Like, baby, are you sure? Don't you want to be a plumber or something? You know what I'm saying? Don't you want to be a beat maker? Like, why you want to be a rapper?
I can understand that, but it's the path that you go along with it. So you can rap, but if you're going to rap and you rapping about ops and et cetera, then that's what is going to come with you. That's that life that they were living, or that's that life that they want to portray that they live. So that's the game you play. Not every rapper go down, do they? Not every rapper's dead. No, of course not. But if they're along that line. Now with the guns, look, we got 3D guns. Those guns, they could possibly even make it on an airport. They don't have serial numbers, but they can kill somebody just as strong as our regular guns. I believe in my rights now, but when you got these guns out here, then that's going to be a different story. Now, I'm against, they want to pull guns out of the home and everything, because I believe in protecting my household always. But, I mean, that's a long battle. That's a hard battle to fight right now, because there's always going to be some illegal gun somewhere. They're always going to be grabbing them, just like they can't get rid of cocaine that's coming out of Colombia. They can't get rid of all this marijuana. It's always going to be here. But it's us as parents trying to instill, it's us getting into our community. In Detroit, there is, I wish I can remember the name of it. There is a black male group, and they have such a positive mission, right? And it's about protecting their kids. They're tired of seeing their young kids dying. And they are calling out the gangbangers, literally. And I'm going to send that to you, Patricia. But they are calling out the gangbangers. And I commend these men so much, because this is the only way we're going to protect our small communities, our own individual communities. Because clearly your senator isn't, your alderman isn't, your councilman isn't. And those are the people that we need to focus on, first of all, before we even start thinking about what the president needs to do, the VP needs to do. That's way too far ahead. We need to start talking about our local government, because our local government is the one that's supposed to be changing our own little small communities that ain't doing nothing but filling their pocket up or being a puppet.
You know what? I want to go back to what you said, Renata, about, what Lil Boosie said about you got to get out. It's unfortunate that when these artists make it to a certain level, they cannot stay in their community. You would think that the community would want them to be there and to pour back some of that money into the community, rebuilding it or whatever. It's a sad thing that this young man was not able to go back to his own hood, to his own place, and patronize, a place in his community and buy products and stuff, whatever, without worrying about being killed. It's sad that they cannot stay in their neighborhood because of jealousy. The jealousy is an evil freaking thing, man. You can't even walk down your whole block because somebody might recognize you. And he always drove his car. People knew his car and everything. It's sad that I don't even understand why he was. In all honesty, his security or whatever, they probably should have been like, listen, when you go home, don't go home rolling in the car that everybody in the world know you drive. Go get a rental car or something if you want to be back in your neighborhood. You might have to disguise yourself, but he I guess that wasn't how he wanted to roll. But it's sad that he couldn't go back to his own hood and be safe.
Well, it happens with females, too. We just don't hear about it. And I'm not saying like some highly female rapper, but females that come up, and that hate is just strong. And unfortunately, it is in this particular community. That's what's sad.
I know that, because I follow Cardi B. And she said if she made enough money, she had to move. She said, I got threats, and it's like I grew up in this community my whole life. But I had people, I done had a break-in when people knew that I was out on tour. People tried to break in my house. She had to move her parents. They didn't try to break in their house. She said, and it's sad, but she got to do what she got. She's like, and now I got a daughter. She was like, so yeah, hell yeah, I moved out the community because I don't want to get robbed. And it's sad, but it's true. The only rapper, actually, that I know of that stayed in his community But you made alterations with his house is Scarface. Scarface would not leave the hood, but what he did was buy him a warehouse and like had his whole compound from the warehouse parking lot and all the rest of that stuff. That he made the warehouse into his home, and he has a compound built with high-tech security. But he had to do all that just to stay in his hood. Ice Cube tried to stay in his hood. He said he had, an area where the house was run down. He bought that whole little block, tried to build a house up. He said, but he experienced so much hatred and envy from people. His wife was like, look, baby, we got kids. I know you want to prove to our community that you still hood and you still black, but I don't want to die with you trying to prove a point, and I don't want our kids to die or get snatched up or anything like that. And that's when he decided to go ahead and move into a more gated and safe neighborhood. With the problem, we have got to quit being jealous of somebody else's success, because everybody possesses a gift. But if you're not willing to put the work in to get your gift going, you really don't have the right to get mad at nobody else to the point where you want to kill them because they did decide to grind. And it's sad. It's sad, but we've been divided for hundreds of years. All of that was what was his name? Was in that Willie Lynch letter. And he showed them how to break down black people, how we would hate each other, would be jealous of each other's success. And, we are getting more recognition and doing better and getting paid a little bit more or the scale is narrowing, but it's still there. It's still there. And it's sad. It's sad that we can't love each other, because if you look at all the foreign people in wherever city and state that you're in, all the foreign people, because it's not just white people stick together, because some white people do not, but if you look at the foreign people, these people, this is not their homeland, but they'll stick together. They'll stick together. I have a friend who said that a new Hispanic guy came to his job, and at lunchtime, people looking at him like kind of rolling their eyes, the brothers, everybody. But another Hispanic guy came up to him, gave him a hug, asked him was he hungry in his language, walked him over to the table where he was at, and some of the other Hispanics, and they fed him. The Africans do the same thing. The Koreans do the same thing. The only people who do not know how to get along are Americans. We have serious issues, and that's because we've lost our way. It's hard to, one thing I can say about foreign people, they can trace back their roots. We really can't do that. We really can't.
You know what? Have you heard about that ancestry DNA? I actually did it because I want to find out, about my roots, or at least, the areas of where my people come from. My ancestors and stuff. So I actually am waiting for my results to come back to find out about, my ancestors or my people. I'm actually doing that because I definitely would like to know, because it's like for so many years we just knew we came from Africa, but we don't know anything. We didn't know anything about what. We just knew as if life started when we got on the boat or when our ancestors were put on the boat or whatever. But I really want to find out where we come from, especially with it being that so many of us are mixed with other things other than just African American. I just want to see where my family's from. So when it comes back, I'm gonna let y'all know. Because I'm just curious.
You know what? I'm not sure if you guys got Netflix, but there's a good documentary of Joshua Thompson. Is there on Netflix? Okay. There's a good documentary that's on Netflix called High on the Hog. If you get a chance to watch that, it's called really unique and kind of opening. High on the Hog. High, like high and low, so high on the hog. Hog is the pig. Okay. And it's a local chef here in Georgia, and he went to start tracing his roots. And this is something that I've always wanted to do, which I am going to do, because I'm going to Charleston. I'm going where our first ancestors, laid their foot on this American soil and where they left off the west coast of Africa. And it's really beautiful, but it goes back into our cuisine. And you guys, I just know, I feel like since you mentioned it, it'll feel real good to you. But when I did my genealogy, I do know that we traveled to Oklahoma at a certain point. It was like a great migration where they had took a lot of the Native Americans, and some black people actually went as well to Oklahoma. And that's where a lot of those tribes, yes, that's where our tribes had met up. I'm Choctaw, but they had Choctaw, Cherokee, all of them right there. And that's where that intermingling started to happen. But it was almost like Black Wall Street in a sense, but back then, before it was taken away from them again. So it's really interesting.
Yes, because Woodrow Wilson asked for an airstrike because Black Wall Street, we didn't need nobody else's money. We were generating. We were prosperous. We were actually doing better than everybody else in America at that time. And they were so angry. When I say they, I say the man. They were very angry about, first of all, they weren't getting no money out of it. And they were very angry behind that. And they kept pressing and pressing until, if I'm not mistaken, it was Woodrow Wilson, who was an extremely racist president, but he ordered an airstrike. And from the airstrike, from the military, they destroyed all of it. So it kind of sickens me when I kind of see uppity people, regardless of color. But when I see real uppity or upper class people who just kind of look like we're so beneath them, and I'm like, if everybody would have been given their share, and instead of us being denied our access, and our great-great-grandfathers who should have been grandfathered in and been counted for, as opposed to, a third of take 3 of us to make one count, then we would have things a little bit more evenly, and it would be a little bit more evenly. But I don't know why people feel like they're so privileged when it was stolen from the beginning. But that's part of history that they don't want to talk about. So when they sit up there and there's these guns and violence and all of that, but when you've been going through, it escalates from the slave trade, and you're having sex with all these people, you have no idea who they are. You're just make babies to know what the field. You don't know how many times or how many people end up sleeping with close relatives, and and it shows that with genetics, if they too closely match, it can cause issues. And then you had the government that flooded our neighborhoods in the inner cities and the black neighborhoods with drugs and alcohol so that we can self-destroy ourselves. But
do you
we've
feel
always
like
been
that's happening with the guns? Armory, do you feel like that's happening with the guns? Do you feel like, because you're right, back in the 80s, that is how a lot of African-American families were destroyed, because of that influx of drugs and stuff. Do you feel like they're doing that with guns right now?
I think right now when Trump was president and he said, hey, you should have a right to protect your home and your family. But let's get real. Let's look at some of these guns that are out there. You really don't need no 9 Tech or no 11 Mac to you as a choice. Why in the hell would you need a gun like that unless you were in a war? And then right before the January 5th, guns increased. Before the Capitol takeover, there was such an increasement in guns, and they were flying off the shelves. And the warehouse was like, man, there's a lot of guns being passed through here. And then, boom, suddenly everything went down on January 5th at the Capitol building. So they was letting people get prepared, get your guns, we want to take our nation back. And they know that black people are known to be aggressive, you know, and black people are known to be violent, and because that's all that the society normally shows of our people, you know, but like, well, you know, I don't know why blacks are so this and so that. I'm like, you know, but that's what we've been pushed at from the moment we got over in America. That is what we've been introduced to from some of the most vicious, filthiest, just ungodly men. But when they did it, it was product, because we were product, you know. When they did it to us, it was swept under the rug. It was never talked about in history. They want to take out slavery section in history, like, well, we can never move on if we keep, but if we never know where the hell we came from, you know, it's hard to know who you are. And then once the drugs and stuff flooded, starting in the 60s, once things flooded from there and broke down a lot of Black Panther parties and a lot of things that we were doing for ourselves, I mean, it left us vulnerable. And so we've been vulnerable. And we've been just trying to survive, you know. And then you got a lot of black men who end up getting killed, some that's in prison. I mean, then a lot of them grew up without their fathers, so they never really grasped the concept of what a man is supposed to do and how they're supposed to act because they wasn't around it. You know, somebody's going to raise you. So if the mama works 2 jobs and daddy's not at home and grandma can't watch everything, you know, and the streets is available, somebody's going to raise you.
Well, yeah, I know. There's a. I mean, I see your point, and I think there's a couple different ways to see that, or look at that. But I want to go back to the mistreatment and how it's happening. I think we tend to forget that this is the way this world has been operating, even in Bible times. That is the foundation of what we do as humans. Sorry, I'm going to go back on mute so I can start my car, get my GPS going.
And that's true. That's very true. And the media plays a huge, huge role, from Facebook to, you know, and for the that's why the whistleblower is like, hey, they're targeting these teens. And they're showing this stuff that's drawing these teens, and it's drawing them to depression, and it's drawing them to anger, and you know, and then you got the TikTok that's drawing these things. You got video games, you know, that went from something simple like Donkey Kong and Pac-Man to Grand Theft Auto, where you actually see, you get to shoot this person, you get to see their blood splatter, their brains splatter over. You see prostitutes, you know, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. And then, you know, when we were young, they even had, back when I was young, television went off at a certain time so your mind could relax. So much stuff on television, from freedom of speech, so many things that young children are exposed to. It comes in cartoon form. Now we got adult cartoons. You know, it's so much going on that people are absorbing. And remember, these kids coming up now, they're growing up in a digital world. They're growing up in a tech world. So, I mean, it's far more advanced. You know, it's a big problem.
But we continue to accept it, and that's the thing. We continue to accept it. We have evolved. Every century we are evolving from, you know, the Persia coming and taking over Greece that was very prominent. You know, it just continues and continues and continues. And I don't see that ending, not by us humans anyway. And like you said, the knowledge, technology is all a different, just different, because our minds have grown. Jim Crow was way back then. We just call now a new Jim Crow. It's just because everything has advanced into a whole different setting.
You know what?
I
think about when I think about what y'all saying about the video games, I'm feeling like that's really a big component because, like you said, Grand Theft Auto was in fact, it was the most violent video that I can think of. When my kids were growing up, like I used to be like, no, you can't play that. You know what I'm saying? Because of how violent it was. So thinking about all these young kids now, a lot of them grew up on that Grand Theft Auto type stuff. And then, like you said, on TV, they show so much of it and stuff, and then the music videos now or whatever, they glorify it. Like in the Atlanta Music Industry Group, when I get so many submissions where people, in the first frame, they're pointing guns at the camera, and I'm just like, what is the point? Like, that is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, why are y'all doing it? Y'all are destroying the minds of our young people. You know what I'm saying? Of our younger generation, they don't even got nothing to look forward to. It was a big thing when Tupac and Biggie Small got killed back in the 90s. You know, it was a big thing. You know, that was a big
But
big
Patricia,
thing.
it's what we accept it. We continue to promote it. It's like, is it woman's liberation or is WAP really foul? We accept it.
It's almost like
it wasn't just acceptance.
It's like if you
it was also was thrown in our face. It was
like
also
in
thrown
the
in our face.
Let me just say this: in the Atlanta Music Industry Group, I get a lot of different submissions. I'm a creative person, and so I don't believe in stifling other people's creativity. I really don't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like it's getting to the point where it's so much of that, and I'm just like, what happened to the creative aspect of music where that's all that they're focusing on? Like how creative do you got to be to do a music video or rap about shooting up the block? That's not, you don't got to use no creativity for that. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to use no nothing for that. Huh?
But to me,
there's that moral compound with that. Because if we believe in people are able to express themselves and express themselves, and that is their art. We can't say that their art is not art. Like, that is their art. There's that moral complex there, because then we'll be considered a hypocrite because we believe in creativity, but personal opinion, that it's not creative.
Right.
And that's
right.
The world is right now with almost every single topic that's going on.
Yeah. But I mean, like she was saying, the world has evolved, and like the things that we experienced and saw as teenagers coming up in the '80s or whatnot, we didn't have the very next generation, the '90s generation. They didn't come up like that. I came up with music from like Houdini, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five when it was poetry, rapping about issues was going on. And then right in the 90s, when drugs hit pretty bad, when crack hit the scene, 80s, 90s, and it kind of turned things around. And then now young people who've been poor group and poor neighborhoods and poor rural areas, now they're making money, not even realizing that they are killing people's souls at the same time. But if you've been poor your whole life, and this is the way for you to come up, and this is the only way that you see that you can make a decent come up, then, you know, and this person is coming to get you, you're not putting a gun towards their head to get it, and they're going to get it regardless if they buy a product from you or not. You know, when you seeing that your kids are able to eat, and a lot of them kind of get up out that neighborhood, they still come back to the neighborhood to do their dirt. They don't actually decide.
Marie, do you have somebody that's listening to the show behind you? 'Cause you got a lot of feedback on your when you're talking.
I don't know, 'cause I don't hear anything, and so I don't think it's my phone.
You wouldn't hear it.
I heard something like it's just like like.
I got another question for y'all. How many of y'all heard about the Travis Scott thing? That whole.
I have. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Yeah, I have.
That right there. That was like, wow. Like I couldn't even think of what to say about that whole thing. I know that whole situation, and so many people follow him, and that is his creative art. But look at what happened. That looked real demonic. For real. That whole
but there was a person going in the crowd with a needle sticking people. So 8 people were like dropping. They had no idea what was going on, don't know what they got stuck with. Well, they said whatever the substance was also had fentanyl in it. But I just cannot imagine going to a large gathering and you got to worry about somebody walking past you trying to bump into you, and they sticking and injecting something into your body, a very harmful substance. And you're doing this at a concert, and for what? 8 people's lives were gone, but you're doing satanic and demonic things.
So that's
the only thing that I can say about that is that you did great.
But what the heck was a 10-year-old doing there? And if you call yourself a Christian, why are you there in the first place? But why was a 10-year-old there at that concert? Baffles me.
Right. But you got younger kids that love these rappers. They love these rappers.
It don't matter. That's a rave is a rave. When I grew up, it was a rave. I grew up with, we can say, NWA era. You know, every hip hop group that came out was hated. It's the hated genre anyway. But his crowd is mainly, truly like white followers, if you really look at it. And 10-year-olds, I don't even understand why that was permissible. It's a rave. You expect a rave to get rowdy, to just mash out and do drugs and hallucinate, and that's what it is. That makes sense to me.
No, it does not.
No. And then, so I really find fault in everybody, including the parents, including the people that died. You know what it's about. You put yourself in that situation. You know what it's about. Travis too. I mean, it's a travesty, but
you know what?
I look at facts. I look at facts. And that's it.
But you know, everybody may not have known. Like I knew that Travis Scott is a rap artist, but I've never really, and like a couple songs that I have heard, it's just something that's been played on the radio. So I've never followed him enough to listen to his music intensely. So I had no idea. You know, I was clueless. I had no idea until the death. I didn't even know too much about Travis Scott.
Yeah, most of their records, what's on the radio is what can actually be played on the radio. But most of their songs that make their records are not radio worthy or can't be. And that's when you get into some crazy stuff. I mean, come on. Lil Nas, even him, he came out with this song that was so catchy, so super catchy, and it was so catchy to our youngsters. I was even singing the song. I did not know the song was about some gay stuff. And, I mean, you got all these little kids. Let me go. You got all these little kids, and then fall in love with them. Then he comes out with this song where he's doing a lap dance to a devil. I mean, rather sexual things. And because he's so popular with these little kids that they had to turn that song around so it can be edited for Kids Bop. I'm sorry, but I don't. That is this narrative that is going on right now. I am not happy to be an American. I can say that much. Yes, it is. And you keep pushing that agenda.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. This devil worshiping, whatever the heck is going on right now that they're pushing is just. I can't even wrap my mind around it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what is that? I just.
You want to change genders? You want to change genders? California? Sit here, they have the option on the birth certificate, male, female, gender neutral. Really? What is that? There's a bigger picture to everything. Everybody just kind of small-minded, and they only think about the smaller thing that's presented to them. But there's a bigger picture for everything, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's really sad.
What's really crazy to me is that when you get a lot of artists want to make it to mainstream. They want to get to that big level up there, but they got a lot of stuff going on up there.
You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of craziness going on up there in that mass media. I like being independent. I don't have a problem. Even my numbers may not be like that or whatever, and I may not have any funds, whatever, but I still have a regular life, and I am happy being independent. I don't know if I would want to get up there with them because they got a lot of stuff up there. They got a lot of, craziness going up there. And I kind of wonder sometimes because going back to the killing of that rapper, you know what I'm saying? Young Dolph, they felt the way that people were talking about it on YouTube and stuff, and the way that when they were showing the pictures that they have of who they thought might be the killers or whatever, they were saying that it looked like a hit. It looked like they came with the whole plan of executing him. And so that just makes you think, does this have something to do with a neighborhood beef or somebody just seen him and was mad at him? Or was this orchestrated on a different level? Because it seems like a lot of these killings of these artists that are up there in mainstream type areas is coming from a different place than what we think. You know what I'm saying? It may not be just somebody just tried to rob him because they knew that was him or whatever. It might be a bigger thing that we know about. It sounded like his brother, I think they said it was his brother who actually came on YouTube and was talking about what happened, and his brother was making a lot of references towards the industry. So that made me think that it may be more than what we think.
Yeah, and these days words can get you killed. You could have said them words 20 years ago, and brother just got out the pen, and he could have handled that. You don't know. People, everybody got a past life, no matter if you're trying to escape it or not. I don't think it was some Malcolm X type of hit, but you really don't. You really don't know.
It makes you worry about the kids. It makes you worry about your kids. Because the kids now. That's what they idolize, either the basketball, sports, the basketball players, or the rappers. Did you see the video? What is that art? Remember the football player, jumping to a different subject. Remember the football player that they kicked off the team because he kneeled during the national anthem.
Probably
what was his name?
Tabernacle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he just came out with a video where he is basically comparing football to slavery, like the process they go through to get the football player, select the football players. The way that he referenced it is the same way that back in the day the slave masters used to select their slaves, and so that's like wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the way that he did it, you can really see how the reference is similar.
Yeah, I did watch that, Patricia. I watched that, and you can have two viewpoints on that because it can reach your heart real quick, and you'll be like, oh, my goodness. That makes sense. They measuring the arms and seeing that the teeth are right, and am I going to get my money for this slave, or am I going to get my money off this player? That's been the game. I mean, are we not compared to others even in an interview? Sure we are. So is it playing into the narrative? Or is it, I don't know. I take it as information, but I'm not going to let it eat at me in a sense like, oh, the world is against black people. I just can't do that.
You said you're not going to look at it different ways. You said you're not going to what?
Different ways.
Wait a minute, Marie. What you said? What, Renata? You're not going to let it what?
Okay, Renata. I take y'all off. I take y'all in and off of mute because I'm on the highway, but
okay.
I said I have to look at it at all angles before I say that it's the world against black people, or this is because what he's saying is a very damning statement. However, when I look at everything we do is a competition to be the best, and you have to be selected. And that's regardless if you're going in for an interview or you're in a competition amongst other people. I see what he's saying, but at this time right now, I also see the narrative that's going on right now. I'm not blind to it. And, yeah, a lot of things are true, and some things are false. And so I'm very skeptical because I don't want to have that plantation mentality and think because we can be what we want to be. We can do what we want to do. We are not in the civil rights time. I just refuse to believe that. I don't think my struggle is the struggle where Martin Luther King was growing up. I don't believe my struggle was famous Langston Hughes. They paved the way. Oh man, look at this traffic, y'all. I gotta put this phone down. I gotta go.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
No, I'm still gonna listen, but too many times. All right.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to a music break anyway. We're going to be right back there. We're going to take a quick music break and play some music so we can think about what, yeah. We'll be right back on the Move Unscripted, y'all.
yourself for what's going on. There are so much things that's going wrong. Do you understand the way I feel? Yeah. There's just too much people being naughty. Every day I wonder why. So many bad things that make you cry. If we don't
This man, Freshly, is different.
Ill will make a beat down.
Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in the streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets. Straightforward if you think they love you. Everything's above you. Move in silence, protect your own, watch the throne. These niggas want it, they hungry. Only safe by your only in the street, can't trust the homies. Price fight you the man down, they used to be friends now. Watch who you call bro now, since money speak so loud. The type of shit that move whole crowds. Hard to say who's the hoe now. Cause lyric calls they on step now. Won't give you shit when you touch down. Same niggas you held down. Bet your heart full of pain now. Moving through these streets, can't let guards down. Look, same niggas you held down. Bet your heart full of pain now. Moving through these streets, can't let guards down. Hard to say who's the hoe now. Cause lyric calls they on step now. Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets.
Waking up, praying before my day gets started. Every day on the news, hearing bodies getting caught in the ambulance. Seem like the world out for vengeance. Not caring about a life sentence. No jail, understand. No price set to be let out on bail. We as people have failed. I'd rather stay in my own lane. Live for my son and daughter. Instead of watching over my shoulder. In these trenches, ain't no love when you getting it. A bunch of leeches trying to hold you back. Same will stab you in the back. Can't get behind, always prepared to steps ahead of anybody, whether it's family or friend. Don't trust a soul except yourself. You ain't gon' rap on yourself. Respect you earn, the crown you own. Just tell it how it is and how you feel on every song. Ain't no love in these streets. Let that be a lesson learned while you chillin' by your lonely. Trying blessings that you earn.
Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. There's a whole lot of enemies. Ain't no love in these streets. Niggas dying in these streets. Stay away from these streets. Cause ain't no love in these streets.
What's going on?
What is the hap? This is R. Marie
and Patricia M. Goins.
And we are with On the Move Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion.
Why are you complaining that that's a long name? That ain't that long.
I'm assuming we're not using this.
Yes, we are, because we are unscripted.
Okay.
Make sure you tune in every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on blogtalkradio.com/Patricia Goins. And it's unscripted, so we say whatever we want to say.
Yes, and we talk about anything. We talk about everything. So come tune in to us and come talk to us. What's on your mind?
We want to hear it. You have tuned in to another episode of On the Move Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion. And if you'd like to join in on our discussion, you call 516-387-1247. Every Thursday, or just about every Thursday, well, most Thursdays, we come on and we talk about whatever's going on in the world or whatever we feel like we need to talk about. And today we're kind of focusing on gun violence and just what's really going on in these streets, like that song that we just played. Ain't no love in these streets. It's unfortunate that, you know, you can't, once you reach a certain level, the jealousy is so bad that you can't stay in your old neighborhood if you grew up in the urban community. You can't roll around in your old neighborhood, you know, flashing your cars and all that kind of stuff because you're happy because you made it to that level, but you can't even do it because you got so many people that's hating on you or mad because you've reached a certain level that they want to be, that they want to reach or whatever, or just the violence, the gang violence, and how it's transferred over into the music, and it's just so much violence and killing is just crazy right now. So that's basically what we're talking about, gun violence. But then we also been talking about, you know, just what's been going on in the African American community. Like I was saying earlier before the break, I did the Ancestry.com, and I'm really excited to find out what the results is going to be, because when I think back to those slavery times, a lot of families were broken up, you know, and I don't think a lot of people were ever reconnected. So this might be an opportunity, you know, using things like Ancestry.com or things that are similar to that, to be able to reconnect with family members that we don't even know exist because we were, you know, they were sold to different plantations or whatever. So, and when you have someone who has your same last name, most likely, unless it was through marriage or something like that, most likely that might be a distant relative that was split up from a plantation. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is an opportunity for African Americans to start finding our lost relatives and people that were split up during that time. What do y'all ladies think?
Well, I think most of the time you're going to find that last name belonging to the plantation owners. So I think that might be a hard way to connect families sometimes because, you know, as you said, they were all separated.
Right. That's true. But at least, I mean, if they all have the same last name, meaning that they all came from the same plantation owner, and those owners kept records, you know, they kept records. And so it would seem like through that last name, if you could trace it back to that plantation, you could probably find records of some people or whatever, or just through the DNA matches, period, you know, regardless of what the last name is. If the DNA matches, then that's probably a relative. And I think with Ancestry.com, they match your DNA with other people who have submitted their DNA, and if it matches, then that means that somewhere down the line you're related.
Yeah, that would be like the because and going off of the records, because say the mom was sold to the Williams plantation, but the father was sold to Jones, but they could be, you know, one in North Carolina, one in Mississippi or whatever. But it's with those records to find what auctions, you know, that they were bought off of to kind of, and with the DNA, well, for husband and wife, it would be going off of the records, but the kids, you know, like through the DNA. But yeah. That one guy, what's his name? He usually do celebrities, and he find like their whole ancestry. Louis Gates. Y'all ever watch him?
What's it? Gates?
Yeah, Louis Gates. He does it for celebrities, that ancestral.
Oh, no, I never seen that show.
Oh, yeah, he'll trace them all the way back to, like, 1500s and even further sometimes. He had Angela Bassett on there. But I was listening to him and finding out, like, how they're able to actually do this linkage. It's extensive research, extensive. Like, it takes a lot of time. Wow, that's deep. Just because of African American. Yeah. Unless you got somebody really like Thomas that kept records, meticulous records, you know, or wasn't destroyed. That's the other unfortunate thing.
Right, because a lot of stuff got destroyed. And I know earlier we were talking about how there's a lot of jobs now that are hiring a lot of jobs, and a lot of those jobs that I'm assuming a lot of those jobs are the lower level jobs that a lot of minorities were doing. We're working. But, with the stimulus money and stuff, a lot of people have been starting their own businesses, which is why pop-up shops are so popular right now, with the different vendors just going and and selling their products at these different pop-up shops. But you got to thank those people, we, or the African-American community, we have definitely started pushing the fact that we need to start buying from each other, which I think is why there's even a large number of pop-up shops and people who are making money in other ways. And so that's causing these corporations to have so many openings in those areas where a lot of minorities or, were once occupying. You know what I'm saying? That's my thought.
Yeah.
Because we've really been pushing that, buy from each other type thing because of all the racial type stuff that's been going on, or whatever. So I think that's what's going on. I think that the corporations are feeling that movement now as a lot of minorities are becoming business owners and are working their own businesses and no longer and not really working the corporations. I think the one exception to that rule definitely is probably the healthcare field because, healthcare workers, we work whatever, that's what we do. So outside of the healthcare field, I think that's what's going on right now. That's why you got so many openings because if you think about it, most of the openings are the cashiers and the frontline workers. You know what I'm saying? The people who weren't being paid a whole lot of money. Those are the positions that are open. The factory workers and stuff like that. People are doing a lot of pop-up shops and they're starting to have their own businesses and they're doing a lot of that. That's what's really going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what I have noticed is that the new generation, there's that generation that want to work them 30 years, the plantation years no more. That's not in them, And I don't want to say that they want fast money. I mean, there is a group that want fast money, but there's a group that just want that entrepreneurship, which is amazing. But I will also say that laws have also been changed. What Lane? There's laws have been changed in the sense of incentives for corporations and companies to start hiring minorities. This is what also has been brought out of this movement. They are looking
and the prices that the price to pay is high. Now you can go to McDonald's, where I started back in the 80s, which of course was many, many moons ago. But I started off at $3.35 an hour. With the surge from the COVID alone, the McDonald's starting off at $12, $13, White Castle $16, $18 an hour. But a lot of our products is a slower, much slower pace because there are so many people who opt not to be out in the COVID or don't want to be around the people or don't want to get sick, don't want to take the injection, and they've had their own creative like because
they've died.
Yes.
Well,
so with them having enough time, but they had enough time at home for all those months when would nobody except for the frontliners even outside those doors. I mean, people had time to come up with their ideas or things that they've been meaning to get to, like, oh, I'm going to get to that, and probably said it for years, like, well, there's nothing else to do. If we can't just sit here or we're going to drive ourselves crazy. Let's just do it. Let's just start. Let's see how far. So there are a lot more people trying to do their own thing. And now, thanks to social media, you can. There are a lot of people thinking a whole lot smarter, making a whole lot more money, working from home or just doing things on the computer. If you're really computer lit and really great in that area, there are a lot of people who are truly on the uprise, This generation is not thinking about working for somebody for 30 years. They want money. They want it now. They don't feel like they have to work that long to get it, especially if it's their idea and it's their business that they're pushing out. And it makes sense. In the end, it's actually going to help the economy because you got to pay. You're going to have to pay to play. You want us to come in. People don't want to cook. You want to go to McDonald's, but you can't get mad if you in line because half the workers didn't show up for work. They didn't have to worry about it because their child tax credit didn't hit or their new stimulus didn't came out or, there's money. And it's been money all year. So there's your bills are getting paid. And then there's a lot of different programs. If you can't pay your bills, hey, they have to accept that. They can't cut you off. So everything came into play where they were able to go ahead and start living their dream, doing what they really want to do. And a lot of people are coming into the fact that knowing, like, hey, I like being my own boss. This is a lot better. I have control, and they're more into it. That's why there's so many, like you said, Trisha, pop-up shops. There's so many things popping off right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. It's a lot. And then also, if you think about, we lost a large number of people in America in a very short period of time. You know what I'm saying? So you can imagine that those people that we lost, a lot of them were workers. A lot of them might have been, the Family Dollar workers or the grocery store workers or the people who were holding those positions. We lost a lot of those people, like, in a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many did they say? Like hundreds of thousands, like 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 people that you lost just like that, like gone. And then, like you said, the ones who have decided that they're going to work for themselves, that's why there's so many open positions. And then not only that, but like for so long they were paying people, like you said, $3 an hour. When we were younger, $3 an hour, and we was happy as hell to get a job. I remember when I was working at McDonald's, $3.35, I was happy as hell. Now it's like you got to pay. You got to come out the pocket. These corporations going to have to come out the pocket if you want to get these employees back, or you want people to even look at you. You're gonna have to come up with the money. $10 an hour. Come on. Why work for you for $10 an hour when I can come up with my own products and sell it and make that same amount of money? Like, yeah, they gonna have to really.
Giving anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 for small business owners. Why would I want to sit here and work for you?
And then you don't even treat us right. You don't want to treat them right. Don't want to do the right thing. I remember for a long period of time, a lot of companies in Atlanta wasn't giving employees raises for years. I remember that, especially in the healthcare field. Oh, my God, they was not giving raises at all. And Armory, I'm not lying. Even still now, they're not giving raises. They're just like, why? Like, for instance, why should a home health nurse have to make the same pay that she was making freaking 25 years ago? Why are y'all not giving them the money? Why? Yeah.
I just want to say something. Our young entrepreneurs, though, right now, I understand what they are doing, and I think it's amazing. But they do need guidance. Because sometimes then they start to get into tax trouble, tax issues, or they are without health insurance, or they're still lingering on to government assistance, even though they actually don't qualify. And that's where we need to be able to depend upon each other, like work with each other. As Patricia, you were saying earlier, support each other's business, not just little shops, but businesses as in accountants or insurance people, whatever it is, we have to work together. That's how this community is going to get better. Because I would hate, somebody going into jail now for tax evasion just for trying to come up and not work for the government anymore, trying to do better for themselves.
Right, like those what were they calling them? The PP? What was those loans that they was giving out?
They're PPU. They're coming after them. They are coming after them, literally. I know for a fact because this is the world I'm in, career-wise. They are coming after them in 2020, 2023, 2024. And it's so sad. So sad.
Almost like a setup. It's almost like a setup. It's like they give you all this money, and they say, oh, you need a loan? You trying to start a business? Come on. You got employees? Come on. Get all this money. And then once you do it, they know a lot of people ain't going to act right. And now they're going to come back for them. Oh, we taking you to jail because you lied.
Well, if they cross falsify the record. If they saying they got 50 employees, 100 employees, so they can get this $100,000 or whatever, then they should know the consequences. You ain't got that. Yeah, you got this money from it, but you know you shouldn't have did that. And that's the fact. So you're going to reap what you sow.
And they're not really seeing the big picture, like you stole from the government. So you no longer qualify for government-type things like student loans, like Title 20 for child care that is out the kawoozu. You know, like, and not to mention, Uncle Sam won his money back. I mean, like, you getting this $20,000, so it's $20,000. You looking at the money while you watching this reality TV, talking about buying this expensive purse. A loan is exactly that. It's a loan. If Uncle Sam said, oh, I'll give you this, and you take it, have fun. But if he said, I'm going to loan you this, that means he want his shit back, you know, and he's going to get it. You can't escape him. He's definitely going to get it.
For you. And that's what irritates the hell out of me with us people, because this person chopped up $5,000 off of knowing they're filing these false records for this person, and sometimes they might get busted, but sometimes they're going to go ghost. And and our black people are still going to stay down. That's what
they still what?
Sad. The black people are still going. At the end of the day, they're going to still be down because they're going to come back to get them, and they're going to. It's just. I think it was a setup. I did not help that long because I just was like, nah, I'm good. No.
Was to help. It was for small business owners who were struggling, who was unable to pay their employees due to this COVID. So this money was to help ease the pain so the employees could still get their money so they can still take care of their livelihoods outside of work, you know, or businesses that were about to start up and was about to be on the rise. And I do know a couple people that, you know, was lived out. You know, one, you know, may, you know, it depends upon how much. But there's a possibility that you may get, you know, jail time. It is 100% possibility that you're going to have a felony on your record, which is going to prevent you from a lot of things for years, like anywhere from 7 years to 10 years. You can't get a felony thrown off till after you've been on good behavior and you finish, you know, that's like a 7 to 10 year process. And it was that they were only taking off no more than 2. So if you still got these felonies and people are still pulling it, and this is something that happened 10, 8 years ago, but it's still on your record, you can't get this. You've changed. You're a different person. You're living a different lifestyle. You didn't got your shit together, but you're still not getting that help because you've had money just thrown at you, money that you're not, a lot of them, not everybody, but a lot of them are not used to having, especially the ones that were only making minimum wage, you know, and now suddenly you're getting all this money. Now, it is going to rebuild back into the economy because people are buying. The problem is we don't have people to package it up. We don't got delivery drivers to bring it to you. You can buy something today, it won't get delivered to February because they're short-staffed.
Yeah, have you noticed when you go into the stores, it's still, when you go into the grocery stores, the major chain grocery stores, the shelves are still freaking empty. Like a lot of them, like this, it's almost like we are still in that system, that pandemic. Well, I guess we are still in the pandemic because you go in the stores and nothing is there. So my question is, was we importing everything, or are they really, are these trucks and stuff really stuck at the border, can't get through? Or is there really no employees to get the stuff off the truck? Like, what is the problem? Why is it? It's a combination of all of that. You can't find stuff. It's a combination of all of that, and especially some of the new laws that are being implemented in regards to when it comes to meat and the animals and how they need to be cared for. So these farmers are now redo their farming, which costs, which they're not getting a stipend, so it's like coming out of pocket, which is a bigger expense, which you're going to see a bigger increase of meat. So he's making me move. Oh, my son right there too.
And that's why prices are going up. Like, I went to the store what was the other day, and I was just trying to find something like carpet freshener, and I went to 4 freaking stores, y'all. And I'm not talking about. I started off with the big chains like Kroger's and Walgreens and stuff. I started off with the big ones. Then I started going to the corner store. I could not find any carpet fresheners. I never in my life went to the store and couldn't find carpet fresheners. Ever. We could, and they was like, well, it's probably because a lot of people are cleaning up and getting ready for the holidays. But that's something we've always done every year for generations, long time. But I've never,
What were you looking for?
Carpet freshener.
Carpet freshener. And I couldn't find any. But when you go to the stores and stuff, the shelves are still not stocked. They're still not stocked.
Well, because that's why I started learning how to make this stuff myself. Telling you, I just want to become more self-dependent than dependent upon what the world going to provide. Because I don't know really where this is headed to.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm tell you who do have a lot of stuff. It looks like there's a caller on the line. So let's pull the caller in. Hello, caller. You calling one of these Unscripted? Say your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm just calling to see where I can buy some carpet freshener from. Do you ladies know?
Do you yourself? That's what we're talking about.
I have missed my radio, man. I have missed my radio press. I'm so happy. I'm smiling. And my smiling.
We've been waiting on you, Patrick.
Listen, what are we going to do if this... What was that?
No, I said you got me flipping. The 1 week that I'm not on the radio, you give me a number. I'm like, no, I'm going to give you. You don't do that.
Who is that with all that noise in the background?
I don't know. Marie. It's not me. It is not me.
But
so, what are your thoughts about the whole gun thing, Patrick?
I just have some questions. Do you ladies think it's... I mean, first of all, you're talking about gun violence, right?
Gun violence and control.
You know what? I think it's a horrible thing. I know people are saying now to outlaw guns and stuff like that, but it's a tricky situation. I mean, it's a really, really tricky situation because on one hand, it seems like maybe if you were to somehow ban guns, that might help, but it hasn't helped in the cities where guns are banned now, so I don't... guns are banned in the city of Chicago, but that hasn't seemed to stop anything. And then again, those who are legal gun owners, I don't know if I want their firearms taken away.
I know. No. One of my clients own a lot. He actually has about 10, 11, 12 guns, and he has paper for every single one of them. He's coming from the country, moved into the city. And he stated he's not giving up not one of his guns. Like, I'm not giving up one of my guns. It's crazy in the city. Nope. I won't give up one gun.
Listen,
and one program that they implemented was like, you trade in this gun, you paid $1,000 for it, and you get $100. People are not going to go for that. But once you start to change the Constitution, there's going to be a really big problem. That cannot happen because then the whole Constitution is changeable. No.
So my question to Patrick is, like, for instance, what you said about Chicago, if they ban, being able to carry the guns, whatever, how are the guns still getting into the city? How are guns still getting in
I heard this. Remember during the George Floyd protest? Remember the protesters were coming upon all of these stacks of bricks that was laid out that people thought they were going to pick up and start smashing the windows, and the bricks were just showing up out of nowhere. Do you guys remember that?
No, I didn't remember that. What happened?
Mm-hmm. All over Dallas, New York City, everywhere, when they were starting to protest, they would come across these stacks of bricks, like on crates, like they had to be dropped off by trucks. These stacks of bricks. And the protesters were smart enough, most of them, not to touch the bricks because they knew it was a setup, right? In New York City, this video, when the protesters are coming down next to one stack, there's a bunch of white people that run out and start taking it was wrapped in plastic. And the white people started running around and taking the plastic off, like, to get ready for the crowd, right? And it was a setup. There's a guy who used to be in the streets in Chicago back in the day, and he said it wasn't until he saw that he remembered when he used to gangbang in Chicago. He said there were twice he used to always hear about these shipments of guns, crates of guns that just would just show up throughout the city, like in the hood. And he said on 2 occasions he was able to catch, him and his friends were able to catch some of those crates. It was crates of guns and ammunition. And now he's a law-abiding.
I'm sorry. I was just getting everybody else say muted, and so he could. So I'm hearing noise, but go ahead, Patrick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he was saying that on 2 occasions, him and some of his friends went out and got some of these crates and got some of the guns and ammunition from these crates. And he said these crates would just show up out of nowhere around Chicago in the hood, big crates with guns and ammunition in them. And he said that the guns that he got back then, they had like these little colors on them. Now he's older. He's a legal gun owner. He was able to make it through all that madness. He's a legal gun owner, and he went to the shop, and he tried to show the gun store owner, these guns because he wanted to see if he can find them. And the gun owner said, I've never seen this type of gun before in my life. I'll check with the manufacturers. And he said he was never able to find, he's like, these things don't exist. And he said it wasn't until he saw those bricks on TV that he remembered those crates of guns. And he said that's when he realized it was a setup. After all these years, he didn't realize it was a setup. And that's his story, and it's pretty fascinating. He used to be a gang member in Chicago, so I don't know where the guns are coming from, but that's
deep.
Yeah.
So that's deep. That's almost taking you back to the 80s when the drugs hit the African American community, and nobody, and we all believe that was something that was a setup, as far as just a way to destroy, the African American community, and it did. It destroyed the families. It put people in jail, people dead, or families was broken up, mothers cracked out, not taking care of the kids. And then these children who grew up in that time is out here now gangbanging and doing all this stuff and glorifying and living that life because that's what they grew up in. If you think about it. If you look at most of these music videos of these young people, and you ask them when were you born, they were born around in that age, around that time.
Yep.
We're born in that time. It's crazy.
Have you talked to some of these young men in the city that are in the street? Have you looked at them in their eyes? It's some of them. It's really weird. It's like there's nothing in there. Like you talk to some of them, and it's just like looking at them like I don't know. It's just weird. Like when I was younger and I knew some guys in the street, they were pretty vibrant. The eyes were alive. They would make moves and do this and that. The young ones now is just like this dead look, and it's like wow.
Because they all high as hell.
Yeah, maybe it.
That's a drugged out look. That's a high look. Everybody high as that's what that is.
You might be right.
Right. Everybody smoked so much weed, so many trees. They don't know where the hell they're at. Remember when we were young and we had the little white papers and they wrote a little joint? They don't even do that now. They've got these big fat blunts and they smoke. Like, how high can you get? How high are you trying to fly?
And not only that, but like when we were younger, Trisha, in high school or college, and at a party, you know, somebody may pass a joint or something around, and it was just like it was the same marijuana. You know, now this marijuana is different price, it's different cost, it's different grades. You know, it's crazy how I'm like, wow, I leave for 10 years, I come back, what the hell is going on here? I had no idea. I was completely lost in the sauce of what was going on in the neighborhood. Like, what is the deal? You know, and I was like, oh, no, this is gas. Like, this what? This is gas. Oh, and this is cushion. This, you know, and I'm like, when did we migrate like this? It's been the regular shit since I've known. What did y'all do? You know, so, and it has changed. And if it is indeed a lot stronger, then I mean, you imagine? I mean, you really tearing your brain cells up a little bit. You really are, because smoke is still smoke, and it still triggers your brain cells. So they're taking it at a whole nother level, and then they're doing extra stuff. You know, I don't know. Mm-hmm. High school, I remember parties. The wildest thing I remember is a weed, beer. You know, somebody may bring a bottle to a house party or something like that. But now, I mean, they have popping mollies. I still don't know what that is. Drinking lean. I still don't really know what that is. You know, but I just know that this is shit I've never heard of. Like, why are y'all trying to check? How high do you have to get? Like, what is the mentality? I don't get it. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, they're getting high every day. It's like, can you take a break? It's like, how much money are you spending on weed? Like, every single day. I'm like, you gotta get high every day.
I think they use it to escape their reality. They, you know, people when people get high, it's because they want to relax and escape whatever is going on. They want to be able to deal with it, and they feel like they can deal with it better if they're under the influence. I think that's why marijuana got approved in so many states, because they knew what was going on, and they knew the only way to keep the people from going crazy was to let them, you know, smoke a joint, because they know the weed will have you chill.
That's not the only reason. That's not the only reason, because when Colorado tried it first, and they saw how many millions it generated in that, I think they hit like 4 or 5 million in under a month, just for medical marijuana, and then a lot of that money is supposed to be going towards the city or that state that is in. That is one of your biggest sellers of a lot of your retail that's going on. One of your biggest ones. You know, and if you can get your insurance, you know, I'm sick, I'm depressed, and now they're about to pass that. That's on the ballot. Now it's for people with depression. You know, like, you know how many depressed people I know running around here?
So the thing is, so at what point, like, we know that how can you really have meetings and talk about guns and what we need to do with them if we feel like the guns are being brought in from different entities in the government? Like, does it matter if you have a local, you know, your local townships get together and try to figure out how to stop guns from coming into your city if the guns are coming from the government or different aspects of the government? Like, it's not even really working, right?
That's right.
I feel like
I don't know what you can do.
Look, as long as ghost guns are out there, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with what ghost guns are. Is everyone familiar with ghost guns?
No.
Okay, these are guns that are 3D printed. They don't have serial numbers. You can make this outside your home or inside your home. Like, the problem really isn't going to be, yes, ghost guns, they are not traceable. You can look it up.
Yeah, 3D printed guns. Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yes. So, trying to change the law or whatever with the legal guns, or guns that have serial numbers, that's not the issue. The issue is the fact that, you get a couple bands or something, you can buy your 3D printer and you can make your guns. That's the problem. And just like cocaine has not been solved, guns will still be here. They will still come here. I'm sorry, I got to click over. I'm trying to find my kid at the airport.
So I don't know really know. Have you been following, Patrick? Have you been following what happened with young Dolph yesterday?
Not really. I heard some of what happened. But I heard the young man had a pretty turbulent upbringing. But I mean, it's just sad to hear. Just another one, right? It's another tragic story.
Yep.
Because I don't know the in-depth story, but I just know what just kind of basics of what happened.
Yeah, he was killed in Memphis, in his hometown, basically in the area he grew up. In I think it was 2020, they said like 200 rappers had lost, I think it was 2020, 200 rappers had lost their life, or 200 plus rappers. Like, I don't know what's going on with the music industry right now, but so many of them are getting killed. It's almost like it's a war going on in the music industry that the world don't know about.
Oh, I believe the world knows. I mean, not like the international world. Well, actually part of the international world, because they having the same issues in Bristol and London, UK. But yeah, I was listening to one of my son's songs. This is how I find out a lot of this stuff. And I'm listening to, ops this, ops that. And usually when they refer and start talking about ops, they are talking about this other gang, right? And there's a church war right now going on in Jacksonville, Florida. And these kids are young. I'm talking about 13 to maybe 26 or so. Back and forth, just like the Chicago bill. I mean, in Atlanta, it's unfortunately the same way. I'm sure it's in other states as well.
Yeah, because Columbus,
again, we have to change this.
But how?
It's going to take some generations is what it's going to take, because we have allowed this to go on. And first of all, with Biden's law back in 1984, which he really advocated for, and it was passed, that locked up a lot of fathers out of the home for small marijuana charges or whatever they could be, and they get 10, 15 years prison sentences. And then their sentences are extended because they're just trying to fight for their life while they're in prison. So this is trickled down very badly, and it's going to be a while before we can get out of this.
So that is a question. So for the ones who went to jail in the states where marijuana is illegal, for the ones who went to jail for it, once they made it legal, didn't they have to let them people out?
No.
I don't think they had to let them out, no. I don't think they had to. I think they could petition or whatever and then work their way to get out of this.
A lot of people were released that were brought up on weed charges. And right here in Ohio, a lot of people who are in prison on weed charges, their sentence is being reduced. A lot of people are getting out. Because and the argument was, well, this was before the law, but the argument is that they just changed the law. So how are you still holding me in here for something that's now legal to do?
And I guess they're also doing their case, and if they have anything else with their case.
You said what?
It also depends on if he had something else with his case.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is anybody, I'm sorry, anybody familiar with Atlanta Airport at all?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so my son did not go through the domestic, and he over here on the international side. Is
the
this
international
the same?
side,
Like there's a loop?
That's a whole different. The international is it's a different airport.
Yeah, I just made it over here, but do they have like a loop too? Like you loop around?
I think you go up and around. Yeah, you like go up, I think.
Okay.
I used to drive Uber.
I'm sorry.
And I used to pick up some people from the international side. And I do think there is an up ramp where you can pick people up.
Okay.
Is this show going to be on next week or in a couple weeks?
I know, right? Yeah, we be blame it on me. We took off last week, but yeah, we'll be back next week. And actually, we're in our last minute and 35
seconds. Isn't next
of
week
the
Thanksgiving?
Show. Oh,
yeah. Good thought.
We may not be one, right? 'Cause it's family time. I ain't trying to mess with y'all on Family Day. I'm trying to eat.
Okay. The next time you have a show and I call in, I'll update you guys on the sit down conversation that we had with the friend. I don't know if you guys remember. I was supposed to have a sit down conversation with.
You better let us know.
I did. I'll update you guys next time.
That's so
I had to sit down.
Why would you wait till the last minute to bring that up, Patrick? That's so wrong.
We need a little time to unpack that one. That was that was interesting. The sit down I had was interesting.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. So I thank everybody for calling in. Patrick hit us with a banger right at the end, and we only got 37 seconds, so I can't even go into it. So make sure y'all come back, I think about 2 weeks from now, and we'll pick up where we left off. Patrick, make sure you call in because I want to know, inquiring minds want to know.
And I blame all of y'all for this disaster. All of y'all.
Oh, Lord. Oh, snap. We'll be back next week. 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. After Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Peace and love to y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Peace and love to you, ladies.